For a year, this 29-year-old mother reveled in the joy of her 3 babies. Linda faced the challenges of single motherhood, cherishing every moment with them. However, her world changed dramatically when her doctor made an unbelievable confession during a call one day. Elizabeth was surprised but determined to keep the pregnancy. At the hospital, she learned it wasn't just 1 baby but 3. Despite the shock, she remained steadfast in her decision to raise them herself. One day, Linda received an unexpected call from her doctor. He sounded serious and informed her about a mistake the hospital made after she gave birth. Linda was puzzled because it had been over a year since then, and there were no recent checkups. The doctor asked her to come to the hospital immediately, but he couldn't explain the situation over the phone. Linda felt nervous and agreed to go. Linda's heart raced with anxiety. After agreeing to go, she felt increasingly nervous about the situation. Knowing she needed to get to the hospital right away, she also realized she needed someone to watch her triplets. Unsure who could help on such short notice, Linda called her mom. "Mom, I need to go to the hospital," she explained. "Can I drop off the triplets at your place?" Her mother, though confused, agreed to babysit. Linda quickly drove to her mom's house, kissed them all goodbye, and rushed back to her car, determined to find out what was happening at the hospital. Linda walked into the hospital and checked in at the counter, joining a line of people. When Linda walked into the office, the doctor looked relieved. He stood up from his desk and gestured towards an opposite chair. "Linda, please sit down," he said. His voice was kind but serious. Linda sat down, feeling more nervous than before. Dr. Stevens sighed deeply. He looked at Linda and began to speak. "After you gave birth," he said, "your triplets were taken to an incubator room." The doctor continued, "You were the only one who gave birth to triplets that day." Linda's heart pounded in her chest. She had no idea there were other triplets born on the same day. What were the odds? Linda took a deep breath and asked, "What's the mistake?" Dr. Stevens sighed again. "Your triplets were mistakenly swapped," he said. Linda felt her world spin. She looked at Dr. Stevens, unable to believe what she just heard. Her babies had been swapped. How could this happen? Where were they? He continued, "The other woman who also gave birth to triplets disappeared from the hospital. She didn't want the babies and ran." Linda's mind was spinning. This had to be a nightmare. How is it possible that she raised different babies than her own? The doctor went on. "While you were recovering, your babies were mistakenly given to an orphanage. The other triplets were taken to you." Linda felt a lump in her throat. She had been raising someone else's babies. Her own babies were in an orphanage. She couldn't believe it. "The older couple you encountered in the waiting room," Dr. Stevens continued, "are the grandparents of the triplets you've been caring for. They're here because they want to know what happened to their daughter's babies." Linda felt anger rise in her. How could this have happened? She demanded. Dr. Stevens looked at her, his face full of regret. "We're doing everything we can to find out," he replied. Suddenly, Linda realized the most important question. "Where are my babies now?" she asked. Dr. Stevens looked down. "The orphanage took your babies," he said, "but I don't know what happened after that." His voice was full of guilt and sadness. He grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. "The people at the orphanage will know more," he said. He handed the paper to Linda. It had a phone number on it. "Our grandchildren," without knowing it. Linda took it, her hand trembling. She knew she had to call that number. Linda immediately stood up and left the office. As she walked out, Linda bumped into the other triplets' grandparents, tears running down her face. Slowly, for a few seconds, she just stared at them. She was raising their grandchildren now, and her babies were somewhere out there. The situation felt so unreal. "I'm so sorry," Linda told the grandparents. Her voice was shaky but sincere. "I want to help make this right, but first, I need to find out what happened to my triplets." Rushing outside for some fresh air, Linda took deep, calming breaths. With shaking hands, she retrieved her phone from her pocket and started looking. The first call had to be to her mother. The news had to be shared. Her mother's shock echoed through the phone, but even in her surprise, she tried to calm Linda down. "Don't worry, honey," she said. "I can take care of the triplets for now. We'll figure this out together." Her words offered some comfort, but Linda knew a difficult journey lay ahead. "Just call the orphanage, sweetie," her mother encouraged. "You need to know where this leads. You need to find your babies." Linda retrieved the piece of paper from her pocket. The number was scrawled in Dr. Stevens' hurried handwriting. She dialed each digit carefully. A man's voice came over the phone. Before he could finish his greeting, Linda blurted out, "Where are my babies?" There was a pause on the other end. Then, in a softer tone, the man said, "You're Linda, aren't you?" It was clear he knew why she was calling them. Linda listened as the man started to explain. "I was the one who called the doctor today," he said. "But I wanted to speak to you personally, Linda." His voice was kind and calm, but Linda could tell he was nervous. He continued, "There was a woman who has been trying to contact us, asking about the triplets. At first, we didn't know who she was, but after some time, we realized that woman must be their mother." Linda's heart pounded in her chest. Could it be possible? Was it her? "The woman didn't show up the first 2 times," he said, "but on the 3rd time she did. She seemed very nervous, but calmed down once inside. However, she started saying these weren't her babies, that she had seen her babies shortly after giving birth, but these triplets weren't hers. I contacted my liaison at the hospital." The man added, "It took us a few hours of digging, but eventually, we learned the truth. The triplets had been switched at birth." The details of the mix-up were becoming clearer with each revelation. Relief washed over Linda, but it quickly mingled with a wave of anxiety. "The triplets are perfectly healthy," the man reassured Linda. "They're in a lovely caring home right now. You can meet them and take them home if you'd like." Linda was about to meet her children. After hanging up the phone, Linda stood there for a few seconds. Then she remembered the other triplets' grandparents and decided to return to them. Inside, Linda invited them to come with her to the place where her triplets were. With the older couple in tow, Linda went to the place where her babies were. Seeing them for the first time filled her with overwhelming joy. After speaking with the caregivers, gratitude swelling in her heart, she was ready to take her babies home. Linda took the grandparents to her mom's house where the triplets were waiting. When they saw their grandkids, they felt a strong connection. They cried tears of joy and relief and understood each other without words. Over time, the older couple and their daughter relied more on Linda for help with the triplets. They valued her advice, patience, and understanding. A deep bond grew among them, united by their love for the children. Linda unexpectedly became the mother of 2 sets of triplets. Her life was busy with feeding, changing diapers, and giving lots of love. Despite the challenges, she wouldn't change a thing. She cherished every moment, smile, giggle, and late-night song. Her heart was full. What do you think of this incident? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this story. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.